This is a DIY electric mountain bike build made with a super powerful bolt-on motor and battery from a company called CYC. It's fast, powerful and real easy to build. The motor is 150 Newton meters and 1,500 watts with a full legal UK mode. In this video, I'll be thoroughly testing it with some full speed Derestricted runs. And I'll also be comparing it to a premium off-the-shelf e-bike, the Trek Rail. The bike looks pretty badass, and I call it Black Hawk. DIY, built in your shed, versus a proper decent, pretty much one of the best e-bikes in the world, the Trek Rail. This has got the Bosch motor in, Bosch Gen 4, and it's nice and punchy, great and responsive. And this is, yeah, just one I've just built. So I'm going to test it in a time test. I'm going to start at the bottom of the trail, just down there, and work my way all the way round, up and right up, back, and finish here. Wheelie straight away. Stop. 31 seconds. Feels fast, like right from the moment that you put torque on the pedals, just goes, just takes off. It's a great motor, this Bosch. Stop. 27 seconds. I could have done it faster as well. You actually have to slow down on the corners. Otherwise it'll just wheelie out. So it comes down to skill. I'm going to do this little climb here. It's a classic climb that I like to test bike motors with. It's loose and it gets progressively steeper as you get to the top. And actually it's quite difficult to clear. Although it might not look it in the video, trust me, it's fairly steep. So it's a good little test to see what this is like compared to an off-the-shelf £5,000 to £10,000 e-bike. So what I noticed with the Bosch is, like, as soon as you start pedaling, you get instant torque from real low down. Whoa, fuck! And get all your weight forward. Yes. The great thing with these motors is you get low down grunt, like as soon as you start pedaling. It gives you assistance, and to get up a climb like that, yeah, it just works. And the Bosch is the best motor at climbing this so far. Even the Bros is a little bit more tough on this climb. I'm really interested to see how this does. Oh, Jesus. Didn't even need to change gear. I was checking when I first rolled up there what gear I was in, and oh my God, the power, just even in the regular street legal mode, the power is crazy. It just, I don't know, it's like the faster you go, the faster the bike goes. When it reaches a certain velocity, it's like a two-stroke motorbike. It just picks up even more. I want to do that again. It's almost wheeling up there. Oh my God. Just goes to show, to get a decent motor, you do not have to spend many thousands, up to 5 figures on bikes to climb well. This rockets up that climb.
3, 2, 1.
The Black Hawk absolutely obliterated the rail.
In every single challenge, the rails got the Bosch motor, and really, it didn't stand a chance in any of the tests. Even when limited to the 25-kilometre legal limit, the acceleration of the bike is really, really strong.
It just makes mincemeat out of all these climbs. Nothing around here can challenge it. It just burns up everything. And I'm trying to find things that I've been doing on my Levo and the Trek that are kind of, you know, doable, but a little bit of a challenge. This just steamrolls everything. I'm super impressed with it. And the other thing, as a bike, like as a total platform, it handles really well. The motor weight is quite low. The battery weight is not too high up, so you're not getting into the kind of realms where the battery's hitting the right up here and adding weight here. So the front of the bike feels quite light and it feels agile and maneuverable. So as a bike to ride, it actually feels really decent.
The bike is built around a Vitus Mythique frame, which has a 29 front and rear, 160mm travel RockShox ZEB Fork, 140mm of rear travel, and a slack 63.5 degree head angle. It's now been transformed into a turbocharged enduro weapon.
I'm on some private land and now I'm going to try it Derestricted. Now this motor puts out around 1,500 watts, 150 Newton meters of torque. So it is super powerful, super punchy. But I've been using the street legal mode, which is like legal in all of the UK trails. But on private land, you can run it totally unleashed. So I'm just going to do a quick run and see what it's like. Holy fucking oh my god, that is without a doubt the fastest bike, e-bike I've ever ridden by far. I don't know what speed I got to there, 35, 40 miles an hour. I just looked down and it rips.
The motor was seriously impressive in high-speed runs, drag races, and hill climbs. And actually, as a bike itself to ride, it seems to handle surprisingly well. But it's definitely not the perfect solution. Let's head to the studio and run through some of the pros and cons of this bike.
Here it is. So after weeks, 1 month actually, of riding this, here's my final thoughts. So first of all, there's a lot of things to really like about this kit. It's plug and play. It comes with everything you need in a single box. They even sell the batteries, or you can use third-party batteries from loads of different suppliers. So it's very straightforward to fit, can probably be done in a couple of hours, definitely in an afternoon. And the compatibility for the bikes that it will fit is really, really big. There's loads of bikes that it will go on, from full suspension to hardtails. You can change the orientation of the motor as well. Some people have it in the frame, some people have it underslung like me, and it's pretty reasonably priced compared to what else is out there on the market. So if you want to build your own electric mountain bike from maybe a bike that you've had for a while that you want to repurpose and bring a new lease of life to, or even if you want to create a cheap electric mountain bike, you can look at full suspension bikes like I've done, brand new, or even bikes that are maybe 3, 4, 5 years old that are still really great full suspension bikes, but you can get an absolute bargain price by buying something like that and creating a DIY e-bike and having a great time on. The kit is so fun to ride. It brings loads of crazy power, to mountain bikes, and you've got the street legal mode, which is really cool, and then you can completely uncork it if you've got access to private land. It's totally illegal to use in the UK with that setting, by the way, but loads of places in the world, they have no limit. So I really like how CYC have thought about lots of different markets. The CYC app has loads of options, so if you like tinkering around, it's by far the most in-depth e-bike app out there. Possibly too much and a lot of language that maybe if you're not into that kind of e-bike and DIY side, even for me, a lot of it didn't make sense. I had to really study and look at the user manual to try and work out what each setting meant. But there's so many positives about the kit. We had an absolute laugh filming this and riding the bike and just burning about all over the place and just ripping up stupid steep stuff, loads of stuff that's not actually caught on the camera, but we just like ripped it around the hills on this bike. It's such good fun, but not everything is fantastic. So let's look at some of the things that I think could be improved. Now, maybe I'm being a bit harsh because I'm comparing this against a full factory off the shelf developed electric mountain bike, but that's my point of reference, and I think it will give a good point of reference to you guys as well. So when I'm talking about this, I'm comparing it to a Trek Rail or a Shimano based e-bike or a Bros powered bike like the Levo. Now, although it's got this insane speed, it actually needs quite a lot of RPM for it to kind of hit this power band. And what I noticed is when you're cycling at a low cadence, especially if you're starting off on a steep hill, it's hardly giving you any power at all until you're kind of getting up to a rhythm, maybe 30, 40 RPM. So in fact, whilst on flats and once you're going, it is like a rocket. When you're starting off on steeper inclines, it's actually really difficult because it doesn't apply power really low down. So when you're riding like the Bosch or the Bros or any other popular e-bike motor, they deliver power instantly from like 1 or 2 RPM. And in fact, as soon as you put pressure on the pedals on one of those e-bikes, it's very easy to get started. And what I noticed on this is when you're starting on those hills, it's very difficult, but then it takes off once you've hit that power band. So it's less refined compared to an off-the-shelf motor. As you would expect, it's from a much smaller company. There is an app with loads of different settings, and it's almost kind of information overload, and there must be 15 data fields that you can change, and it is quite confusing. CYC were great. They sent me some settings to try and change to make it a little bit more natural feeling, but this is nowhere near natural. Like if you like a natural pedaling feeling e-bike, this is like this feels like RoboCop. This is so digital, is on and off, and it just kind of pulses you forward and slows you down, and it's just so kicky. And yeah, more like a moto feeling than a mountain bike feeling. Secondly, the noise. Oh man, it is so noisy. They call it the stealth motor. You can hear this coming from a mile away. It is such a high-pitched noise and almost like a whine, and you can hear the motor revving up and spooling down again. So as you're starting, you can kind of hear it, and then the look and the aesthetic, there's no hiding that this is an e-bike. It looks like one of the early e-bikes from 2013, 2014. A lot of that is down to the battery shape. It'd be great if they did a more lower profile, sleeker, rounder battery. And also the battery did come loose. Now there's a lot of weight. It's hanging on 3 bolts, 2 of which are bottle mount bolts and 1 is for a cable guide. So tightened up, it is quite secure, but over the month it did come loose. Wasn't a problem, I just took the battery off and tightened it all up again, and that made it nice and secure. Would I recommend it? If you have an old e-bike and you just want to bring it back to life and you want to have an absolute blast, then yes, go for it. But in my opinion, it's not a replacement for some of the refined electric mountain bikes that we see that are out there. Bear in mind that they are £5,000 to £10,000, and this is less than half that, and it's a fraction of that if you've already got a bike. But it's been an amazing fun project. Everyone that's been on it has had an absolute laugh, and it's almost like riding an electric mountain bike for the first time. Again, that's the feeling that this gives you. It's just a good laugh, and it's been an absolute blast. So I've loved riding it. Let me know your thoughts on this. Is this something that you would do? What do you think of it? Is it crazy? Is it too out there for you to consider? Well, I loved kind of putting this together, and it's been a great project. Thanks for watching. Subscribe for weekly e-bike videos, and I'll catch you soon.